Hello everyone. In this video I'll try to explain to you what significant figures are, how to use them, and what are their importance when it comes into physics, basically. Now the thing is, significant figures is basically just a way of expressing numbers, or let's say in a better phrase, a way of rounding up numbers, And here, as you see with me in these examples, like something like 2.67. So, and you might see next to that number in brackets that say like 3 significant figures or 2, etc. So here, what that means basically that this number has been rounded to or contains 3 significant figures. So in this video I will try to show you like what rules are used for significant figures and how you yourself can be able to use them in a smooth way. And I'm just going to go through the second example. Now we've got only 2 digits. It has 2 significant figures. And the third one, really interestingly, something like 1000, which would usually look like something that has 4 digits, would actually have 1 digit if it's written in that way. Now, moving on. These are the general rules for significant figures. The ones that I felt that would be really important for you to know and to understand. Now the first one is to start counting from the first non-zero digit. Okay, and I'll give you an example for that. Let's say, suppose you have something like so let's say you have basically that's just 23, but let's say someone put a 0 in the beginning. You really should start counting from the first number, which is 0, 2, 3. You should really start counting from the first number, which is 23. Okay, so this basically has 2 significant figures, let's say. Now, then the second rule is basically that the zeros between non-zero digits are included. So what does that really mean? The zeros between non-zero digits are included. Okay, so basically what that means is you have something like this, okay, where you have zeros between 2 other non-zero numbers, like 1001. See, you got a 1 on the left, you got a 1 on the right. That gives you something like 1001. So, should you include these 2 zeros in the middle as significant figures? Absolutely. This thing, when you write it down, it really should be 4 significant figures. That's just how it should be, really. Okay? And now the third rule, you're going to notice there are a lot of rules about zeros here, because we know that the other non-zero numbers are significant, always. But in this case here, we are talking about when zeros can be significant and when they won't be significant. Okay, this is what we are actually discussing. Now in the third rule, zeros that are used to locate decimal points are not included. Okay, so I'm going to give you really an example to show you really how does that work. Is basically if you have something like this, 0.004. There's no number before, okay, and basically what that means that this actually has only 1 significant figure, okay. So just don't be fooled by, oh, there's some fancy zeros after the decimal point or whatever, because if they are used just to locate a decimal point, they really aren't significant, okay. However, on the contrast, zeros after the decimal point are counted, okay, which are not used to locate decimal points. So this you really want to focus on that one. You don't want to get confused by the third rule. So an example here would be 1.0002 or 5 0.0400. If you have numbers that are written in that way, with that respect, really, the first one then would have 5 significant figures. Okay, so we actually included all the zeros there. Okay, because they're not just used, to locate decimal points, because you already have a 1 on the left. Okay, and here in the second one, it also has 5 significant figures, even though there aren't any zeros, there aren't any digits in the middle for the the last two numbers, the last two zeros. But the fact is, because as the rule says, after the decimal point you start counting the zeros, then in this case this one would have 5 significant figures. I hope that you really now know that you have some kind of clarity between rule number 3 and number 4, because they can somehow be easily confused, so I don't want you to experience that. Okay, now here we have some exercises that I thought would be useful for you to try out yourself and think how many significant figures would each number contain. Okay, I want you to think pretty good about this one.